Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Study Bill 155 is a bill requiring school districts and certain accredited non-public schools to offer the Pledge of Allegiance and to display the United States flag during the reciting of the pledge. This bill was written not only to put the Pledge of Allegiance in our schools, but also protect the First Amendment rights of all who are involved. An accredited non-public school has the right to opt out of this requirement if it goes against their religious doctrine, and for our public schools, the public school student, and I quote, shall not be compelled against the student's objections or those of the student's parent or guardian to recite the pledge. This bill is long overdue, as Iowa is one of few states that does not have language in its code regarding the Pledge of Allegiance in schools. A list I hope we're not on for very long. Mr. Chairman, those conclude my opening remarks.
Is there discussion? Should recognize Representative Hunter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Would Representative Nordman yield to a quick question?
Will gentleman yield?
Yes.
You're in order.
I know, I think it was last year or the year before, or whatever, during the Pledge of Allegiance, or not Pledge, the Star Spangled Banner at football games and everything, there were many people in the Republican Party and elsewhere that were very critical of Colin Kaepernick and other people kneeling during the Star Spangled Banner. If a student decides to kneel during the Pledge of Allegiance, what's going to happen to them?
Well, Representative Hunter, I don't see this as a political issue. Nothing will happen to them. As I just stated in the bill, they are not required to stand. They are not required to recite. They can sit out, kneel, whatever they choose to do. But I don't see this as a political issue.
I'm glad you don't see it as a political issue, but it's going to turn into a political issue whether you like it or not. Once it gets implemented, because if somebody does that, I can almost guarantee that maybe not somebody from the political parties, maybe not somebody from the outside, but there are going to be people in that school, classmates, whatever, that are going to have problems with that. Representative, I'm done with questions, thank you. I know it says voluntary in the bill. In reality, it's not voluntary. Kids in grades kindergarten through 12th grade are probably some of the meanest people in the world. And this is coming from people that somebody that doesn't have any kids. I can almost guarantee that if there is a 5th grader or a 3rd grader or whoever that decides to either sit at their desk and not say the pledge, stand up and not say the pledge, kneel, whatever, they're going to get bullied, intimidated, and everything under the sun by their classmates until they involuntarily do the Pledge of Allegiance. That is reality. And whatever we say in a bill, that is reality. Now, if we're doing the pledge to teach patriotism, which I'm assuming that's probably the ultimate goal of this bill, I think there are other better ways to do it. We can do it by being honest, not only in classrooms, but in the home and everywhere, about what is really great about America, what makes America great, but also what our faults are, and what we can do as individuals and as students and as parents and as teachers to maybe overcome those faults. Patriotism, in my mind, is sticking up and saying that it's not okay to kneel on our brothers for 8 minutes until he's dead. Speaking up is being a patriot. There are so many ways to become a patriot, to learn about what's good in America, to learn about patriotism. Reciting and involuntarily having to recite the Pledge of Allegiance every day in the classroom is not learning patriotism, it's learning how to recite. And I won't be supporting this bill today, thank you.
So further discussion, Chair recognizes Representative Bohannon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I think I also share concerns about kids getting bullied and non-conforming and, you know, all of that. I think that's important. I do hope that our Supreme Court precedent in Tinker versus Des Moines will speak to that because, you know, it does allow peaceful protest in the schools when it doesn't substantially interfere with the school's activities. And so I am hopeful that that will solve that problem and that the schools will be able to deal with any problems that do arise if they arise. We've been putting a lot of mandates and prohibitions on schools lately, and generally I think it's better to let school districts decide some of these things for themselves. But on the whole, I'm going to support this bill. A lot of as Representative Nordman said, you know, a lot of states already do this. Most states, overwhelming majority of states already do this, and a lot of the school districts around Iowa already do this. And so I think it's really important that it does have the exception that no one's compelled to participate. I do want to say something, though, along the lines of sort of the patriotism idea. You know, under this law, whether students will participate in the Pledge of Allegiance is purely voluntary. We can't force them to say it, and we sure can't force them to feel it. If we want kids to feel it, we have to go beyond asking them to recite words about democracy and justice. We have to show them those words in action. They have to see that those words are the real America day in and day out, not just for some, but for all. That means we have to protect equal rights for every person. We have to ensure justice under the law. We have to uphold our democracy and respect the results of free and fair elections. In short, we have to ensure that, as the Pledge of Allegiance says, we have a republic with liberty and justice for all. If we do that, the allegiance will follow. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Is there further discussion? Chair recognizes Representative Jacobson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen on our committee. I certainly appreciate Representative Hunter's concerns for civil liberties, and Representative Bohannon, I appreciate your reference to Tinker. We've been talking a lot about that landmark case. I'm not quite as concerned about this tripping and becoming a threshold issue because kneeling usually connotates a prayer, and that is something philosophically and vehemently opposed in our current culture of government schooling.
Chair recognizes Representative Moore.
I think we shortchange our educators, our school boards, our teachers, and our students when we think that this is not going to be used as a learning opportunity to teach patriotism and to go through what that pledge actually means to us as American citizens. I think our school districts will use this as an opportunity, not as just an act that they have to do on a daily basis.
Is there further discussion? Seeing none, the chair recognizes Representative Norman for closing comments on House Study Bill 155.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I said in my opening remarks, Iowa is one of few states without the Pledge of Allegiance language in its state code. It is my belief that the Pledge of Allegiance is something that can unite all Americans, regardless of your race, religion, age, sexual orientation, or ideology. Aligning ourselves with just about every other state in this country by adding this language to our code, I believe we are doing a service to our schools, our state, and our country. I would like to thank my subcommittee, Representative Mitchell and Representative Bohannon, for their help on this bill. Mr. Chairman, move the bill.
Representative Norman moves House Bill 155. Will the clerk call the roll?
Representative Kaufman.
Aye.
Representative Bowden.
Aye.
Representative Bacon.
Aye.
Representative Bloomingdale.
Aye.
Representative Bohannon.
Aye.
Representative Bossman.
Aye.
Representative Cahoon.
Aye.
Representative Donahue. Representative Jurdy.
Aye.
Representative Hunter.
No.
Representative Jacobson.
Aye.
Representative Jones.
Aye.
Representative Confers.
Aye.
Representative Lundgren.
Aye.
Representative Meyer. Representative Mitchell.
Aye.
Representative Moore.
Aye.
Representative Norman.
Aye.
Representative Sexton.
Aye.
Representative Segrist.
Aye.
Representative Wilbur.
With a count of 20 ayes and 1 nay, the bill will move to the floor as a committee bill. Before I move on, I just want to comment, Representative Hunter, I want to compliment you, because I only know you that has the skill set to somehow make the pledge as political as you just did. Moving on, Chair recognizes Representative Seeger for opening comments on House Study Bill